This congregation is assembled for the purpose of installing the 13th Chancellor of Durham University.
His Majesty's Vice Lord Lieutenant, Right Worshipful Mayor of Durham, Bishop Paul, Chancellor-designate, Vice-Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, Durham Cathedral, the Shrine of St Cuthbert and of the Venerable Bede, the Father of English Learning, welcomes you today most warmly. My name is Michael Hampel, Acting Dean of the Cathedral, and we're delighted that Durham University gathers here this morning to install Dr. Fiona Hill as Chancellor of a place of learning which was itself founded by Durham Cathedral and its bishop 191 years ago this year. Dr. Hill bears the character and imprint of the northeast of England, and the sacred stones of this holy place embody County Durham in all its diverse facets and qualities. We value our ongoing partnership with one of the world's premier universities. And since a former Chancellor suggested that Durham Cathedral is the best cathedral on planet Earth, we believe that cathedral and university together may say to the world with confidence, there is something for you here. Congratulations on your appointment, Dr. Hill, and be assured of a warm welcome in this place for many years to come.
Good morning, distinguished guests, members of Durham University, colleagues, students, alumni and supporters. My name is Joe Dockery. I am the Chair of the University Council, and I'm delighted to welcome you all today as we complete the official process of installing Dr. Fiona Hill as Chancellor of Durham University. I would like to begin by offering our thanks and deep appreciation to Durham Cathedral for hosting this ceremony in such magnificent surroundings, and to all who have contributed to making today a memorable event. A little over a year ago, I had the honour to be entrusted with overseeing the appointment process. The first step in the process of appointing a new Chancellor was to ensure representation from all parts of the university. So a joint committee of the University Council and of Senate was formed to lead the process, tasked with the challenge of selecting the 13th Chancellor of this great university to succeed Sir Thomas Allen after 11 distinguished years in that role. We encouraged nominations from our entire community, including staff, students, alumni and supporters, locally and globally. The response was overwhelming, and the selection process began in earnest. With so many high-calibre nominations, the committee had to focus on securing the candidate whose skills, attitude and personality we felt most closely reflect the values of our great university. After a great deal of time and deliberation, we finally got to a shortlist, but it was clear to us all that one candidate stood out. And not only because of her exceptionally successful career and global outlook. Fiona Hill also shares our passion for the North East and the communities we serve, as well as our commitment to the transformative powers of education, with the opportunities that offers to all. The recommendation to appoint Dr. Fiona Hill was put to the Joint Committee and then to a special convocation. Support for the recommendation was unanimous. Fiona was confirmed as our Chancellor in November last year. We are delighted that she graciously and enthusiastically accepted the post. The role of Chancellor at this university is a most important one. The Chancellor is the ceremonial head of the university. Dr. Hill will perform official, pastoral, scholarly, and ambassadorial duties on behalf of our community. The role has an increasingly global impact. We look to our Chancellor to represent our vision, values, and aspirations across an international community. The Chancellor also supports the Vice-Chancellor and University Council by reinforcing our values across the wider academic community. The most visible and recognisable role for the Chancellor, though, is presiding over our congregation ceremonies, connecting with our students and wishing them well as they join our global alumni community. This is a particularly special element of the role, and each of our Chancellors have brought their own qualities to it and made it their own. On behalf of the Council of Durham University, I would like to extend our best wishes to Fiona, not only for today, but for her future with our remarkable university here in Durham. As has been said, I am delighted there is finally something for you here. May I now introduce a very special performance by the Durham University Choir, combining the University College Chapel Choir and the University Choral Society, accompanied by Daniel Cook on the organ.
Good morning and welcome to all of you here today. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to this magnificent cathedral to confirm the installation of the 13th Chancellor of our great university. We welcome distinguished guests from our local communities and from our university family, regionally, nationally and internationally. We welcome you all. A particularly warm welcome to our outgoing Chancellor, Sir Thomas Allen, as well as friends, family and associates of our new Chancellor, Dr. Fiona Hill. I'm also particularly delighted to welcome visitors from our local schools and colleges here today. We hope many of you will become Durham students in the future. I have been Vice-Chancellor and Warden at Durham for about 18 months now. As an academic, a university leader, and as a parent, I know how difficult it has been for our students over the last few years, including the challenges of COVID-19, industrial action, and hugely increased cost of living pressures. Durham University will continue to do all we can to support our students and to further extend the opportunity and means to study here to students from all backgrounds. Despite these challenges, I continue to be so very impressed at how our students have continued to make success of their time at Durham, not just spending time on their studies, although that is important, but making the most of everything we have to offer that makes our Durham experience so distinctive and special. We continue to thrive as a university community and in our endeavours. Only this week, it was announced that we had risen 14 places in the QS World University Rankings to 78th in the world, our best position since 2019. This is credit to the hard work, dedication and innovation of many right across our university community. And we are determined to do more and better. For our research to have more impact, to continue to innovate in teaching and learning, and to further widen access to higher education. Universities, especially one like ours, are here for the long term, owing an obligation to serve this generation and future generations. Since my arrival, we've been working on refreshing the aims and vision of the university. This has been an opportunity to take ourselves right back to the fundamental question of our role and purpose. In terms of our charitable objectives, we are primarily here to educate and conduct research that makes a difference to the world. What makes Durham particularly distinctive is that exceptional combination of teaching, research, and wider student experience, world-leading and world-changing research and engagement across all core academic departments and institutes, education that is challenging, research-led, and transformative, and a stimulating wider student experience, delivering long-lasting benefits for graduates and society. But what was our original purpose? In the Act of Parliament of 1832, Durham University was constituted to enable the Dean and Chapter of Durham to appropriate part of the property of the Church for the establishment therewith for the advancement of learning. Not only the advancement of learning, but the advancement of individuals' lives, whatever their starting point, through learning. As we approach our 200th anniversary in 2032, it's interesting that this objective is still as relevant today as it was at the time of our foundation. Also notable is the ongoing warm cooperation between the cathedral and the university, so vibrantly reflected in our ceremony today. Today, in this ancient seat of learning, we look optimistically to the future as Dr. Fiona Hill takes the formal oath officially to become our Chancellor and a crucial part of our great university community. The installation of a new Chancellor is a rare and momentous occasion. It has only taken place 12 times in almost 2 centuries. So this is a historical moment for us, and we're delighted all to be here to witness it. We're fortunate to have had several chancellors who've added a different dimension to our university community. They brought interests and skills from their successful careers across many professions. Since her appointment, Fiona has joined us at important events, most recently at the Chancellor's Circle dinner, where her warmth and enthusiasm for our university was very evident. Through her knowledge of languages, history and current world affairs, and her passion for education, her ability to inspire is also abundantly clear. She is calm and self-assured, she shows no signs of allowing the serious world in which she operates so proficiently to cast a shadow over her optimism and deep affirmation that education can be so critical to making good things happen. In the next few days, Fiona will get to know more of our staff and students, and I know why they will appreciate that she is the perfect choice as our 13th Chancellor. She embodies our values and purpose. In her book, There Is Nothing for You Here, Fiona tells of her father's advice to her to leave the county of her birth and make her way elsewhere in the world. It was through education that her journey to great professional acclaim was made possible whilst maintaining her great pride in her background and her enthusiasm for the power of learning. This is a journey we wish for every Durham student. Her academic and professional credentials are second to none. Educated locally at Bishop Barrington Comprehensive School, she studied for her first degree in Russian at St Andrews and went on to further study, gaining a master's in Soviet studies and a doctorate in history at Harvard University, where she was a Frank Knox Fellow. As a member of the National Intelligence Council, she became part of the advisory team for Presidents George W. Bush and Barack Obama. Subsequently, as a member of the US National Security Council, Dr. Hill became a foreign affairs advisor to the Trump administration. She became known more widely for her bold and thorough testimony at the Trump impeachment trial. Equally as invaluable to Durham as her professional credentials are Fiona's pride in her family upbringing and the values instilled in her county of birth. From a loving and supportive family home, Fiona maintains the integrity, work ethic, and optimism developed there. Raised in a coal mining community, she has, in her own words, moved literally from the coal house to the White House. We hugely value her commitment to education for all and her complete belief in the transformational power of that education, a belief that is also central to our values at Durham. Building on the work of her distinguished predecessors, Fiona will be an inspirational chancellor, leading by example through her contact with our community. At Durham, we are fiercely proud of the opportunities that we offer to students, not only a first-class education, but so much more besides. So many of our students are typically involved in cultural pursuits, in theatre, in dance, politics, sport, volunteering, music, and much more. These are all enriching experiences that help our students develop their resilience and breadth of character that is needed to succeed. In this respect, we are thankful to our 12th Chancellor, Sir Thomas Allen, who is here today. His unwavering support and encouragement of our students involved in the performing arts has contributed to the wonderful music we've just enjoyed, a true celebration of our students' talents. Today and this week, as our Chancellor, Fiona will preside over our end-of-year congregation and completion ceremonies. She will join our students and their families and friends as they mark the end of their time at Durham. This student cohort has overcome so many challenges during their studies in recent years. Yet we know that their time in Durham will equip them well for the challenges and opportunities ahead. Their connection with Durham will stay with them through their journeys. The privilege of meeting Fiona will only empower them further. So may I now invite Dr. Hill to be installed in her robes of office and take the oath, and I call upon our former Chancellor, Sir Thomas Allen, and the President of the Durham Students' Union, Joe McGarry, to assist her in doing this. May I now invite Dr. Hill to take the oath.
I, Fiona Hill, hereby declare that I will duly fulfil the office of Chancellor and Head of the University, and that I will faithfully endeavour to maintain and uphold the privileges and rights of the University and support it in the pursuit of its aims and responsibilities.
I present to you Dr. Fiona Hill, 13th Chancellor of Durham University. May I now invite representatives from our student community to welcome our new Chancellor, together with another performance from the Durham University Choir, accompanied by Daniel Cook on the organ. Finally, in a slight change to our programme, may I introduce the Reg Vardy Band.
Well, that was wonderful. I just want to thank the Reg Varney Band and Kenneth Downey from the university, who I think composed that piece, as well as the choir and everyone who's here today. I'd really like to welcome everybody who's attending this historic event. I'm really delighted to be among so many university staff and students, alumni and supporters, as well as my own family and friends who I can see here sitting in the pews. Thank you to all of you for your support. It's very much appreciated, especially as I take up this role of Durham University Chancellor, a role that I'm really truly honoured to be appointed to. I'd also like to take this opportunity to express my deep admiration and respect for my predecessor, Sir Thomas Allen, who's sitting right behind me here. I'm sorry, I'm blocking your view, Tom, who gave 10 years of service to your university community and who I have, as I said, the deepest admiration and respect for, and also a very considerable legacy now to fulfill. We're sitting in here in this cathedral, which is, of course, magnificent, indomitable, and iconic, but also the enduring symbol of a unique region, County Durham, and the northeast of England. It's very special to me personally, and also to my family and many of my friends who are here today, because Durham's our home. And when I went to school here in County Durham, at Bishop Barrington Comprehensive School and earlier at Etherley Lane School, geography and history lessons always began with facts about our region. People in the northeast of England were fiercely aware of who they were and where they were from. And on vacations outside of the region, my mum's sitting here in the front, and be careful if she corners you again, because when we would go on vacation outside of the region, my mum and my dad would corner anybody who asked where they were from and just tell them at great length, until they were trying desperately to escape, all of the facts and figures and events and great achievements of the entire northeast, because they were very proud of being from this region, and with really good reason. Durham is a really good place to be from and to belong. Durham, of course, marks the southern extent of the ancient kingdom of Northumbria. It's England's storied borderland with Scotland, and as many of you know, this cathedral briefly served as a prison for Scottish prisoners during one of the many periods of brutal conflict between England and Scotland. And Durham University's Department of Archaeology have recently carried out quite extensive and fascinating, if not gruesome, research about these Scottish soldiers and what became of them. So I would appreciate it if all of you would go and look at the Durham University Scottish Soldiers website to find out more details. Now, of course, the northeast has also been England's militarised frontier zone for a lot longer, since the Roman times. Roman legions built forts here, including in my hometown, a fort called Venovium, here nearby in Bishop Auckland, on a hill above the River Wear. And Durham University played a very important role in excavating this and many similar remarkable Roman sites. After the Romans, of course, as we all know, the northeast was a centre of learning in the so-called Dark Ages, centred around the early Christian church, and it had an influence and network of ecclesiastical connections that extended as far as Rome. We were all very proud of the fact that the region produced the first illuminated manuscripts and translations of the Gospels into English. We've already heard about the Venerable Bede, who marked and recorded the transition from the 7th to the 8th centuries and is buried here in the cathedral. And then after the Norman conquest came the Bishop of Durham. For centuries, a powerful warrior prince who ruled the north, not just a clergyman. And of course, as we have already heard, with 200 years of the anniversary of the university coming up, William van Mildert, the last of those prince-bishops, bequeathed Durham Castle and Palace Green to create University College and then the Durham University. So today's students are part of a 15th-century-long tradition and legacy of learning in the northeast of England. In the 19th century, as the university expanded, Durham and the northeast were not just a centre of learning, but they were the leading centre of British industrial innovation. The people of the region extracted the resources, as well as invented the technology and made all the manufactured goods that people used all around the world. All this was driven by the development of the Durham coalfield. The coal mining and pits and collieries that spread across the region became the foundation for every other industry in cities like Newcastle, Sunderland, and Middlesbrough. By the late 19th century, Newcastle was one of the world's great financial centres, renowned for its fine architecture and gracefully curving city streets. And you didn't take coals to Newcastle because Newcastle's ports shipped coal all the way around the globe. In Sunderland, further down the River Wear from Durham, the locals were nicknamed Mackhams. I think they still are today. The people who mack them or make them, all the steel, ships, trains, massive machines and bridges that everybody else needed. The region and its three great rivers, the Tyne, the Wear and the Tees, were the magnet for industry, goods, jobs and people, and villages soon became towns and then cities. Members of my family, many of who are represented here today in the cathedral, worked for all the big industrialists and their manufacturing companies in the northeast. And as a historian, and just like my parents, cornering people for a while, I'd like to just tell you just a little bit quickly about this. My mother's maternal grandfather was the coachman for Sir Stephen Furness, who was part of a famous shipbuilding company on Teesside. Her paternal grandfather migrated from Scotland to work for Bell Brothers, a very famous family here in County Durham. They were also the family, for those of you who are historians and interested in the Middle East, of Gertrude Bell, the Queen of the Desert, who helped T. Lawrence carve out Jordan and Iraq from the collapse of the Ottoman Empire. Gertrude Bell was born in her family's home in Washington, County Durham, the same place as George Washington's ancestors. The Bells built Washington New Hall, the Washingtons, of course, built Washington Old Hall, and here in the cathedral there's a plaque to the Washington family and all of their achievements and accomplishments in America. My father's side of the family were miners for several generations and deeply rooted here in County Durham. Alongside the titans of industry and historic figures, Durham miners developed their own legacy, including a plaque to them here in the cathedral, but also Red Hills, the Pitmen's Parliament here in Durham, which opened in 1915 and was built with thousands of small contributions from ordinary miners. The upcoming Durham Miners' Gala was first held in 1871 and is still one of the most important events on the UK organised labour calendar. My great-granddad, Thompson Hill, was a workers' spokesman for the Durham Miners Association, and in his day, a celebrated orator at the gala, calling for improved work conditions and pay. The Durham miners were deeply committed to their own and their children's education. They invited faculty from here at the university to give them lectures at Red Hills. And I won a bursary from the Durham Miners Association to complete an intensive Russian language course in the 1980s. And several of Thompson Hill's descendants went to study at the university and work in education, and some of them are here for today's ceremony. Now, why have I relayed all this? Well, because this is the story of County Durham and my family's over multiple generations, and also Sir Thomas Allen's. This city and the university prospered precisely because of coal and industry. But this is also a hidden history for many people who come to study or just visit in Durham. With the exception of the wonderful outdoor Museum of the Northeast at Beamish, it's much easier to see the remains of Roman Britain or Norman Britain than it is to see the legacy of industrial Britain in today's County Durham. The 1984 miners' strike marked the end of coal here in many other parts of the United Kingdom. The last pit, the real deep pit in County Durham, closed for good in 1994, and the last shipment of open cast mined County Durham coal went out from Newcastle a couple of years ago in February 2021. So it was the end of an era. Now, that being said, there was nothing romantic about working down a pit. It was back-breaking work. But miners also created rich communal structures that shaped this region and their outlooks. Many of those communities and much of the physical remains of County Durham and North East's rich industrial heritage have now been destroyed. Between the mid-1960s and the 1980s, all the remnants of economic development and innovation were bulldozed in the name of reclamation. The disappearance of coal mining, all the other industries, the jobs, and the way of life associated with places like County Durham's pit villages was a major trauma. And the industrial remains that I vividly remember from my childhood were all erased. But these were remnants and monuments to considerable human ingenuity. They were the testaments to things our grandparents and our parents had made and once took pride in, just like this incredible cathedral and the wonderful Durham University. Durham Cathedral is built also on the foundations of something earlier, a Saxon church. And Durham University, as we all know, was founded on church property, and Durham students therefore stand on the shoulders of the generations who preceded them. Durham University is the product of the history of an entire region and the repository of its achievements. And today's students and graduates are everyone's investment in the future. Durham University is both a community and an international centre of excellence and learning for the people who pass through its doors. Pioneering research conducted here at the university already has and will continue to advance human knowledge. Graduates of this university will personally and collectively shape the future of the United Kingdom and many other parts of the world. This will be the shaping for the decades ahead, and I know that they will find solutions to our most intractable problems. Durham students will build their own monuments to human ingenuity on the solid foundations that have supported them while they've been here. I'm really privileged to be part of this inspiring community and its endeavours, and I'm also profoundly grateful. The Chancellorship has brought me home in a full circle to the place and the people that I'm very proud to be from. Thank you so much. session is now at an end.